All right, guys. Okay. Oh, we are live. Woo, sorry. You got my big face right there. We are talking about benzodiazepines tonight. It's Friday night at Integrative Family Medicine. This is the second week in a row we've done something live on Friday nights. And if you're not here tonight, there's a good group in here tonight, then you're missing out because we have got a great, well, my presentation's not so good. I mean, maybe it's great, I don't know. But the actual speaker tonight is going to blow our socks off with her story of addiction to Xanax. Was it just Xanax?
Well, it was Ambien and Xanax.
Ambien and Xanax. So we're going to talk about benzodiazepines tonight. I made a last minute decision to go live on this because I think this is a very important subject. I'm going to share some statistics with you guys tonight that won't just make you sick on benzodiazepine addiction and abuse in the United States. These are United States statistics. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. I have a lot of patients who have a lot of shame over their addiction, and there's no shame in this. There is a complete physiological reason that you become addicted to benzodiazepines. I mean, they work. They just work. And unfortunately, the more you use them, the longer you use them, the more you need. Am I correct?
Correct.
You keep raising that dose up, and when it comes time to decrease the dose, it's very difficult to do it. And we're going to go through all of that tonight, actually. And this is exactly what I was taught in school right here. It's nonsense, right? As long as you take it every day on schedule, you won't have to worry about addiction. That is exactly how I was taught. You as well? Yeah. And we know how addicting they are. These are just some of the benzodiazepines. There's about 15 out there. Ambien's one of them. People don't realize that Ambien is an actual benzo, but Xanax is the number one, and we're getting ready to share some statistics. Klonopin, Librium. So as a 20-year-old, I was having horrible diarrhea, IBS-like symptoms. I had my first colonoscopy at 20. Many of you know this. Got my colonoscopy. I was put on Librium at age 20 as, maybe I was a junior. I guess I was a junior in college. I went to work on Librium in the financial aid department. I didn't know what Librium was in the financial aid department. I could not even function. I mean, they sent me home. I took maybe 3 of them, but they gave me at 20, had I continued on that road, now I ended up with 5 colonoscopies and all of that going on, but had I continued on that road, they started me off with Librium at 20. There's no telling where I'd be at 52 had I continued on. Yeah. So these are some some Xanax addiction statistics actually as of 2015. There's more than 50 million prescriptions for drugs like Xanax written in the United States each year, right? The number of prescriptions specifically for Xanax climbed from 29 million to 35 million in the span of 5 years. It's become the 9th most popular drug and the 5th most popular of all prescriptions overall. Scary. Nearly half of all teenagers believe that prescription drugs are safer than street drugs. People die from benzodiazepines. We know that, and we've got the statistics in here. Those who suffer from an addiction to Xanax could take up to 20 to 30 pills a day. Is that not unbelievable? 124,000 reported emergency room visits as a result of benzo abuse were reported by recent Xanax abuse statistics, and this was in 2011. That number continues to climb as of 2018 because more and more Xanax prescriptions are getting written every single year. If you've not been prescribed Xanax, you can get your hands on them if you desire to, because and if you try. What does it say? Even those who haven't been prescribed Xanax can get their hands on the drug if they have the desire to try and get high using a benzo. Absolutely. There's my son, who just graduated from college, is it called bars? Bars of Xanax? Xanax bars. That's huge on college campuses. Huge all over college campus. And he talked about the Xanax bars on campus and how much they go for. I don't even know. Is that what it is? Is that why they call? Does it look like a bar?
I think so. Honestly, I don't know, but I know
Well,
I've
you know
heard
what?
the word Xanax bars.
Well, there it is.
Okay.
It's a bar. It looks like a bar, so you
So what do
can
you
break
do?
it off easily. You just take a little nibble of it. This is what a friend of mine who has a Xanax issue. When I was going through a divorce, she gave me a couple, and she'd say, "Just take a little nibble. Just take a little nibble." That was 15 years ago, and I took a little nibble 15 years ago. But that was it. I liked it. I love it, actually. But I mean, I have smoked pot one time in my life, and I love that. I totally get how people can continue on this road. Okay. 1 in 11 high school students have reported intentionally abusing Xanax at some point in their lives. 1 in 11 high school students. I mean, there's 1,800 students over here at Centennial High School. So I don't know how many's that. Who knows how to... There's 1,800 kids, 1 in 11. What would that be?
Oh, God.
I don't know. Somebody... A lot. That's right. A lot.
At least 180.
Isn't that something? So how do benzodiazepines work, right? Why are they so addictive? Why do people get addicted to these? They work by slowing the electrical activity in the brain. They slow it down. They make GABA, which is a neurotransmitter, this is GABA, responsible for calming the brain more effective. So GABA calms the brain. Benzodiazepines make GABA more effective. GABA is calming. GABA is for the people who have the physical symptoms of anxiety, the heart palpitations, the panic attacks, the tight shoulders, the clenched jaws, the migraine headaches, just the wound tight people like this that are just clenching. That's what GABA does. GABA is the calming neurotransmitter like that. The longer you use benzos, the more likely you are to need them to feel good, right? They're highly addictive that way. The more you use them, the more you need them. You may come up with reasons and excuses, right, to continue the use. And that's doctor shopping, which we were talking about just a little bit earlier here. You're going to start to many times combine it, which is what you were saying. People combine it with alcohol. People combine them with other drugs. All of these are a sign of addiction, right? Should not be used long term, period. Uh-oh, there's my quick typing over there. I don't know why, what that means, but should not be used long term. They were designed to be used short term. Short term, they work beautifully. Kind of like proton pump inhibitors, Nexium, right? Prilosec, all of those, they were designed to be used very short term, just like benzos.
I wish I would have known that 15 years ago.
Isn't that 15 years into it? 15 years. Somebody's supposed to be here. She's not here. She's been 20 plus years. She was here last Friday night. 20 plus years she's been on them. 30% of Xanax users report a return to their symptoms after long-term use. This is why you have to keep bumping it up, right? Because their symptoms come up. Yeah, this is why many patients have to increase their dosage in order to achieve the same effect. And we know, we're going to talk about our journey trying to decrease you and how many years it took. In 2013, Xanax was the most commonly prescribed drug. Other benzodiazepines like Ativan, Valium, they came in 5th and 9th, okay? 49 million prescriptions written for Xanax in 2013. Ativan, 27.6 million. Klonopin, 26.9. Valium, 15 million. Restoril, 8.5 million prescriptions. It's an epidemic. Can you see it? Yeah. From 2013, there were 23,000 deaths attributed to prescription drugs, with 31% of that total amount being a result of misuse and abuse of benzodiazepines, things like Xanax. Benzodiazepines accounted for an estimated 8,000 deaths alone in 2014. I mean, that's just a few years ago.
Well, is
So
that in combination with the drink, with the alcohol and all, or just...
No, this is benzodiazepines alone, right? Just benzos.
I mean, what do they do? Like,
Well, they slow your breathing down. Yeah, they will. You bet. Accidental.
Well, you gotta take a massive quantity though.
Not necessarily. Well, the average user, you could be using up to 20 to 30
That's
pills a
what I was
day.
gonna say, 20.
From 2000 to 2015, more than 500,000 people died from drug overdose. 91 Americans die every day from an opioid overdose. And then you start mixing them, right? Opioids
So opioid
and
pain-
benzos.
pain?
Pain medicines.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. There's been a 5-fold increase in death attributed to benzos from 1999 to 2009. Emergency room visits related to benzos rose 89%. Xanax deaths rose 233%. Unacceptable. They can cause overdose and death when used alone. They're even more dangerous when used in combination with other drugs, and particularly opioids and alcohol. And if you're that addicted to them, many people end up mixing just to get the same feeling that they got. So these are the statistics that are going on. What in the world happens in the first place? And we're not here to talk about why you got on it, or I'm not, to talk about why you got on this in the first place. Who wrote your first prescription? I'm sure you can remember who wrote it and how the journey has gone. But, and for what reason? Was it anxiety, or was it you were getting ready to have because they do give them and they work well for procedures. They gave me one, I don't remember, I didn't get Xanax. What did I get, Valium? Or what would they have given me for
Valium.
my teeth
Probably
recently?
Valium.
Valium. And it was fine. I don't remember anything about it. Apparently I was really funny. I walked into the dentist office. This was a couple years ago. I had 9 amalgams out. They put me to sleep, had it done. I didn't even need the Valium really because they put me to sleep, and then it was done, but that was it. So there are controlled uses for this. I mean, it's not that they are the devil, but they are highly addictive. So so if it was for anxiety, many people with anxiety issues have got thyroid problems. They may have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is the #1 undiagnosed autoimmune disease in the United States. Hashimoto's is 8 to 10. Hashimoto's is more common. Let's see, how am I saying? Women have autoimmune disease 8 to 10 times more than men do, right? So check the thyroid. Check your B12 level. B vitamins are very important for things like anxiety and energy, B vitamins. And how do you methylate? Actually checking an MTHFR and going down that rabbit hole is very important. Vitamin D3, zinc, copper, ceruloplasm. Those are things that should be checked. That's looking at something called pyroluria, which, if you know anything about what I do for a living, I adore Trudy Scott, and she wrote the book here, The Anti-Anxiety Food Solution, talking about pyroluria. Zinc and copper are really big for anxiety, and so if we check that and you have a really high ratio there, we give you things like B6 and fish oil and evening primrose oil, things to bring down the copper levels to decrease the anxiety. Magnesium, red blood cell. Do you know 80% of the United States population has a magnesium deficiency? 80 to 90% of all depressed patients have a magnesium deficiency. Do you know how easy it is to fix a magnesium deficiency? Well, you take magnesium. I don't have it here, but anyway, it's in the other room right there. I don't know why I forgot that, but
Relax Max has it.
Relax Max has got magnesium in it, but magnesium not only will help the anxiety and the depression, it helps you poop, which is phenomenal because you're going to be stressed if you can't poop. So not that that's a reason that you're on Xanax, but anyway, this poor guy's in here. He's like never met me. He's probably like, holy cow, she's a nutcase. I can't believe I'm spending my Friday night listening to this quackball. But magnesium, oh my gosh, I mean, we're so deficient in it. There's no magnesium left in the soil, in the food anymore. So that's an easy fix. I mean, I have a lot of patients who tell me, Dani, just starting magnesium helped me, anxiety-wise. Check your sex hormones, your progesterone, your estrogen, your testosterone. I can't tell you how many women going through menopause or perimenopause start with anxiety. I mean, it starts then. And that is a root many times for anxiety. Well, guess what? We treat women the same. All women. They either get birth control, antidepressants, benzodiazepines, or synthetic hormones. I mean, we never think to look that there could be something going on, like their hormones could be messed up. If your progesterone's out of balance, Maybe you need a little bit of progesterone and your anxiety goes down. Maybe, maybe not. There could be heavy metals in there as well. I mean, there could be all kinds of things going on. Check a C-reactive protein. Those are inflammatory markers, inflammation in your body. These are just some basic labs that should be checked. And what do they check at your normal doctor's office? TSH. You're lucky if you get a D3 checked.
Ask for it.
Yes, and you certainly aren't getting zinc, copper, ceruloplasmin, and magnesium red blood cell. I mean, they're like, what? I mean, yeah. So, what are some of the supplements? And we're not here to talk about supplements and all. We're here to share a story. But fish oil, fish oil, fish oil. So actually, my medical director in this office is a psychiatrist, which is great because I could use one 7 days a week in here. He's a functional medicine psychiatrist. So I texted him tonight and said, Dr. Emsch, what are some of your favorite things? And of course, it was everything that I knew, but he actually because he said add in tyrosine a lot. But fish oil, fish oil, fish oil. Do you take fish oil? Does everybody in here take high dose fish oil?
I do.
One of the best things you can do for anxiety. Fish oil works unbelievable in the brain, right? It is unbelievable for anxiety, for inflammation. I mean, just overall well-being. But a high-dose fish oil, at least 2.5 grams a day. GABA. He uses a lot of GABA. So this is when we're trying to wean people off. Weaning patients off of benzodiazepines is a 1 to 2 year journey at best. And that was and we know this firsthand, right? And then sometimes we're not even successful and you have to go one step further in. But at least 1 to 2 years, because you can kill yourself coming off of a benzodiazepine. You can go into a seizure, you can go into, all kinds of things. And so L-theanine, tyrosine, tryptophan, these are all GABA, these are all amino acids. So they all work with the amino acids. And this book, The Anti-Anxiety Food Solution, those of you who don't know, who don't watch us on Sunday nights, I interviewed the lady who wrote this book, Trudy Scott. There's a whole interview on YouTube and Sunday night service on Dani Williamson Wellness that has Trudy Scott, who wrote this book. Phenomenal. She treats all her anxiety patients with amino acids. And there's a questionnaire, and in fact, I'll give you guys that questionnaire tonight and see. I have copies of it, where you all rate. High-dose B vitamins, right? B vitamins help with anxiety. They help with depression. They help with energy. I mean, who doesn't need, are you tired because you're depressed? Are you depressed because you're tired? I don't know. That's where your labs come in handy to check. And then, get some B vitamins in there. Straight up energy. B12, methylfolate, B6, B5, all of the Bs, 1 through 12. And they're water soluble. And Dr. Emp says that he starts patients off on Cavanase. Is anybody in here taking Cavanase? Cavanase.
Is that to help you sleep?
Yes.
Okay, I saw Betsy today.
Well, now Cavanase PM is different than straight up
that's what she told
Cavanase.
me.
Yeah, she uses. Oh yes, Betsy. I know our Betsy. She uses Cavanase PM. Cavanase helps increase your GABA in your body naturally, and so it's got taurine in it as well, which is fantastic. But he uses Cavanase, inositol, separate GABA as well, L-theanine, and then what else did he tell me? High-dose fish oil. And then he uses something called Empower Plus. Do you know what that is? Mm-hmm. Empower Plus, and it's from True Hope, truehope.com, and we'll talk about that with you all. And then you can't discount lifestyle modifications when you're trying to do this, right? You have to eat well. You have to eat an anti-inflammatory diet. There's no two ways around it. You cannot supplement yourself to good health, period. Oh, we forgot CBD oil. Now, CBD, I totally forgot about because it's not been on my radar for years. My school that I went to school, they did not tell me about the powers of the endocannabinoid system and how out of balance we are. And I mean, it's just maddening to me. And that's a whole nother hour worth of talking. But do you use CBD oil for? Yeah. It's phenomenal for anxiety. For anxiety, insomnia, chronic pain, migraine headaches, seizure disorder, Parkinson, all those neurological things. I have been absolutely blown away by the power of CBD. And in fact, this takes the place of many things with a lot of my patients now. They've weaned down to just using CBD oil. Yeah. So diet. You have to eat well. You have to eat an anti-inflammatory diet. You can gluten, dairy, soy, corn, sugar, eggs, peanuts. Those are the top 7 inflammatory foods in the country. There's no way around it. And I tell people every day, you can't out-supplement a bad diet. There's no way. You can't take enough CBD to fix an inflammatory diet. You got to start there. You have to sleep well, right? If you don't sleep a minimum of 7 to 9 hours a night, you're not rested. Your body's inflamed. Your body heals when you sleep at night. That's when you make serotonin. That's when you make glutathione, the master antioxidant that mops up all the free radicals in your body. You have to sleep, and you have to sleep in a room that is clean and healthy. Clean as in decreased electromagnetic fields in there, right? Like your phone doesn't need to be beside your head. Well, my phone's in front of me there, but it doesn't need to be right on your head. You don't need to be sleeping with your phone in the bed. If it is, it needs to be on airplane mode and 6 feet away from you, even, at least. The wireless router, which there's one in here somewhere. Oh, it's right over there. It needs to be 2 walls away from you as well. You don't need to be sleeping on a metal bed frame. All these things, we can't get away from it in rooms like this. I'm standing right here just getting all kinds of electromagnetic fields with this and this. But your bedroom needs to be a sanctuary. It does. And then you got to move. Well, the research is huge on anxiety and depression and actually exercising and creating endorphins, right? You got to poop. Well, that has nothing to do with this, but that's just part of what I talk about all day. So I always throw it in because you need to poop, always. You got to decrease stress and you got to have community, right? Those are huge, right? This is a piece of the puzzle. Not one of these is going to get you off of a benzodiazepine addiction. It's all connected. Emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally, sexually, the whole thing. It's all connected. Pointofreturn.com. Dr. Imps recommended this, and for those of you that are on Facebook Live, I will type this up for you on there. Pointofreturn.com was an excellent website on coming off of benzodiazepines. It's got benzos, it has Ambien, it has antidepressants. There's 3 different, I think, treatments that they have. He recommended this, and I was highly, highly impressed with their website. Cumberland Heights, which we're going to talk about more in detail tonight. Dr. Natalie Campo here in Nashville. She is a psychiatrist, Yale trained. I tried to get her here tonight, but she already had other plans. She is fantastic. She's a functional medicine psychiatrist. She's not going to refill your Xanax prescription. She is cash-based like I am. She's not cheap. She's an MD. I'm an NP. But this woman knows her stuff. Kelly Brogan, if you haven't read this book, A Mind of Your Own, she's a psychiatrist. She trained at Harvard. She has not written an antidepressant now in probably 10 or 12 years. Did you read this book, Donna? This is an excellent book on depression and anxiety, and she talks all about everything we just talked about, your vitamins, your lifestyle. That's an excellent book. Then, of course, Trudy Scott and The Mood Cure. The Mood Cure is like the original book for anxiety. She is the original person who said there's a connection between the gut and the brain, right? So the gut is about 80% of your brain over here. It's 80% of your immune system. Those 3 books, The Anti-Anxiety Food Solution, A Mind of Your Own, and The Mood Cure, to me, are invaluable books to have. But, so that's just a little overview on the actual numbers and the statistics and how mind-blowing it is out there. I am going to bring up Donna West because I know everybody's been waiting. So you guys, as you are logged on, hit your like buttons and hit your heart buttons, and we're going to talk here. Do you want to sit or do you want to stand?
I can stand.
You can? Okay. So this is Donna. Donna has been a friend of mine. Donna was a patient, clearly, since we shared that, HIPAA violation here. Has been a patient. Look, they love you, Donna. I want to tell you something. This woman, I can't tell you how brave she is to stand here and tell us her story. because she and I met, it's been about 8 years ago.
Yeah, it has.
It's been a long time.
I was trying to think, how long has it been since I've really been battling this thing? It's probably been 10 years.
Okay, so I met her, then you were wanting to try to come off of this a few years into it.
I was really kind of wanting to come off, but I really wanted you to just prescribe some more.
Yeah, so here's what happened. Here's the story. And so I kept saying, you got to come off of this. You got to come off this. I had just gotten out of school, right? So she gave me a run for my money over here. So my story was, we weaned her down, and I don't remember what you were on at the highest of your Xanax use. Yours was Xanax.
Yeah, and it was about 1 milligram. Not a big dosage, but I would take a whole lot.
Yes.
Yeah,
And so we got it down eventually, and it took
0.25.
years to 0.25. 0.25 of a milligram. And I kept writing on the prescription to the pharmacist, do not fill this ever again, weaning the patient down. I mean, they probably thought, I don't know what they thought, but
They
we
knew
could
exactly
never,
what was
we
going
kept
on.
trying.
Yeah.
We kept trying. Now, and Donna kept showing up, and she kept saying, Dani, I can't do it. I've tried. So every month I would just give in, and I gave in, but we got it down to 0.25. And then, this is where the story comes. I couldn't take it any further. I couldn't get her, and I said, Donna, I'm going to have to, I can't see you. I can't write this prescription anymore, because I knew in my heart of hearts I was contributing to an addiction.
And that was panicking for me, because I'm thinking, back when I started on this, and I said this when I first got here, I may not look like your typical drug addict, but I had gone through breast cancer and kind of sailed through that. You don't sail through something like that. But what started for me about 2 years after that, maybe 3 years, is a back issue. And so I went to the doctor, and honestly, I was in so much pain. He was writing out just as many prescriptions as I needed. He was writing out some things that I honestly did not know exactly what they were, but I was willing to take anything at that point to ease the pain. So he just quickly, he would write out, when you say Xanax, it's a different name, an alprazoline or something like that.
Alprazoline.
So, to me, I'd never taken that before. He would write out a muscle. Basically, he'd say, bend over, is that hurt? Yes, it still hurts. Okay, here's your prescriptions. So I would work all day. I would go home, and whatever I needed at that point to just zone me out, ease the pain. And it's kind of funny for you to say you would never, you would smoke pot. Well,
No, I've only done that one time.
God
Donna.
forbid that
Once.
I-
I was 49 years old, and it was legal
Okay.
in Boulder when I went one time, and I loved it. I understand how people smoke pot.
Oh, but I'm just saying, to me that is illegal.
Yeah, no, but I went to Boulder where it
but
was
my-
legal, and so
But my
let's clarify that. That was the best $10 I ever spent. I can tell you that. That was good.
To me,
Anyway,
for my age, well, if the doctor gave it to you, it's fine. But don't catch me taking one of those illegals, because my parents would have busted me. But that's exactly what happened. So I started taking those, and then, you hit a little blip in the road, like you go through menopause, or we moved up here and it didn't go exactly the way I wanted it to go. Everybody didn't just love me like that they've done before in my career, and it just was rocky. So, I started feeling depression, and I will be honest with you, at that point you could go to a weight clinic and get Xanax or Ambien. You could go to just about anywhere. And that small amount really led to, when you say 10 to 20 pills, I don't know that I ever got to that point, but you have to take a little bit more every time. And the thing I didn't realize is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but alprazoline and Ambien and alcohol, they all work on this section of your brain to give you that thing. So
they calm you down.
Yes.
Or, yes.
So I started, sleeping more, disconnecting from family. I think the thing that really scared me to death on this whole, where I was with getting, more and more, And to me, honestly, I knew at that point, even though the doctor prescribed it to begin with, I was getting it from several doctors. I wasn't just going to one doctor and, because it didn't feel the same anymore. So I'd go, and at that point you could. It wasn't, thank goodness today they are realizing you're going to kill, you can't get off of this, and it's killing people. And so I would go from, doctor to doctor. Well, I knew I needed to stop this. I knew that it was, I just remember driving to my son's soccer game one night and, driving down the street, and I had taken this medication and I hit the curb, and I thought, I am either going to kill myself or I'm going to kill somebody, and it is time to get a handle on this. But I couldn't, it wasn't, just making up your mind to do it doesn't solve the issue. You really do. I'm a person that I want to start it here and I want to end it immediately. I want it to, just don't take it anymore. It wasn't like that. I did my own little self-medication programs. I would say, okay, I've weaned myself off of Xanax, but I'm going to take Ambien because I still have, they all affect your brain the same way. And so I did actually come to Dani because I thought, well, she's a holistic doctor. You know what? I probably can manipulate her. And that's just as honest as I can be, as I thought, everybody's not wanting to write these things as often as they have. And if I tell her my story, then she's going to write these prescriptions. And you did. And we started on this path of really trying to scale back. But it still didn't give me quite that feeling. Plus, I was scared, to be honest with you. When you try to scale down, or when you stop, your heart's like beating out of your chest. And then I would rationalize, you know what? I really have had a horrible day. I've had things have been so stressful at work. Tomorrow it's going to be better. And tomorrow I'm going to be able to tackle this better. So I would, all those things you tell yourself that it's justified, and tomorrow I'm going to do it, or, I'm going to start on Monday. It's kind of like a diet. I'm going to start on Monday. It's going to do better. And I would give up one drug kind of for a month for another, but I never gave up the drug. I never gave up whatever drug it was at that point that gave me that relaxing feeling that I could kind of zone out and not have to deal with the world. So we worked hard. We got the Xanax way down. And I just remember the day that I kept telling my kids, I know I need to do something about it. But in the back of my mind, that was just kind of they're on my case about it, so I'm going to tell them I'm going to do this, but I'm really not going to go. I'm not going to really, I wanted to, my heart was in it, but my body just wasn't strong enough to do it alone. And also, I went to medical professionals and I talked to them. When I would start to tell them about how much I was taking, I would see those posters on the back of the door. I'd see those, or they'd come in and say, well, you can go to jail for, doctor shopping. And of course you tense right up and go, well, I better not tell them exactly the story. So you were the first person, I think I've just said, I've got to be honest. Well, my kids, I was honest with them, but not so much the doctor profession, because sometimes they don't know what to do with this. They don't know how to solve a problem that they somehow have created by writing all these prescriptions.
How much were you taking a day?
I'm going to say probably 3 to 4 milligrams, because we'd gotten it down to, when I say 0.25, that sounds really good, but what I would mix with that, since I didn't have much of the drug anymore, I thought I'll have at least a couple of glasses of wine. And honestly, guys, never would I think I'd be standing in front of you going, and during the day I would wake up and go, well, I've got to tackle work, and I've only got this amount, and I'm not going to get a prescription, so maybe I better just take a drink of alcohol. So I knew I was in trouble, but I didn't know how to solve it. We tried the weaning off, and we'd gotten pretty far with that, but I told my kids, I said, you know what, I'm going to get control of this. And this is over a span of a few years, so don't think it just happened overnight. But I said, I've called this place called Cumberland Heights, and honestly didn't really know much about it at all. I didn't know how blessed we were to have that place that's so wonderful here in Nashville.
Now wait, I think, am I wrong, or is this another patient of mine? You actually went to the emergency room
Oh,
first.
yes, I went a couple of times.
Yes, and wanted help.
Yes, I
Wanted
did.
help, but you were turned away because
Right.
you did not mention the word suicide.
Well, that's exactly right. Now,
Yes.
now that you said that, I forgot
I mean,
that.
I know I remember it because
Yes.
it seared in my brain when you came back to me, and I was like, she
Yes.
has to be suicidal for them to help
Right.
her.
Yeah.
So,
That's
yeah,
exactly
so
right.
she
I
first
had been
went to
the
get help
primary
at the
care
hospital.
physician, and then I went to the emergency room
Yes.
2 times.
Yes.
Because I thought I could gut my way through this. I can just, and my heart would be beating out of my chest, and I thought, I don't know enough about this drug to know if it's going to kill me or not. So I'd go to the emergency room. Then the first time they actually wrote a prescription for it a little bit, and I thought, okay, a few more days I can, I'll be okay. The second time they turned me away, and I mean, I just remember driving home that night going, what am I going to do? So I think it may have been my son and my daughter that actually found, or maybe I did, found Cumberland Heights, and I thought, okay, I'm going to tell them I'm going, and I'm going to get everything ready to go, but I'm not going. I mean, that's just honest. I thought, I can manage this thing on my own. And I had been up to that point pretty good at manipulating people to give me what I needed. Just one more thing for the next day, and I mean, goodness, that sounds just like a drug addict. Just one more day. I'm gonna start on Tuesday what I can't accomplish on Monday. And we went through the whole process of me telling them exactly what I was on. Dani's right. She had really worked hard with me. Now, I will tell you, she's so smart. I know about 1% of what she knows. I'm at the age, I didn't know about all these supplements or things like that.
Well, I didn't know about all those then either. If you remember properly, because my nursing school didn't teach me anything about that.
Well, that's
so had I known now, if you came to me now, I would be more equipped. Well equipped. That sounds like I'm from
Well,
Kentucky,
when she would
like
say
more well
yeah,
equipped.
Donna,
Well, I don't know.
maybe your B12
I would
is
be well
low.
equipped.
I'd
Yeah.
be going like, I could care less about
Yes.
my B12. You need to give me one of the Xanaxes or an, you know, that stuff is not, you don't know how bad it is. And there's so much truth to all of that. There really is. I mean, I learned, well, anyway.
So you went to.
But, so I went through all the paperwork, and unfortunately they said yes, they'd take my insurance. At that point I thought, well, I can use my insurance. Remember going, they did not say they would approve my insurance, so I can't go. Well, they did say, and kind of long story short, I got my suitcase packed, and my son and my daughter drove me over to Cumberland Heights, and honestly, the whole way there, I thought, I'm not going. I will wiggle out of this somehow. I'm just not going to go, because I kept thinking, this is, you know, not that bad, and it was so much worse. They saw it all. They kind of saw the effect that it had on me, and I'm such a family person, but the last thing I wanted to do was have anything to do with my family. I just wanted to go home and take whatever I needed to kind of go to sleep and not deal with the world. So anyway, they took me over to Cumberland Heights, and I was scared to death. I know they both said they sat in the parking lot and cried because it was so hard on them to watch their mom go through all of this and then to just drop me off and have to leave me. And if I could have gotten out of there, I would have, for the first 3 days, I would have walked miles to get out of this place, because you're going through withdrawals, and you're really facing this demon that you didn't, you know, you thought you could wiggle out of. But it was the hardest and the best thing I've ever done, because for the first week, I mean, I learned so much stuff that I have known at my age, but I didn't know. I didn't know these drugs were so addictive. I didn't know a lot of things that they were prescribing initially, that they are addictive. It's the doctor, and the doctor said they're good for you, and so I took it. But I just remember kind of calling them, and I looked around, and it was amazing to me how many 16 to 60-year-olds were there with kind of the same story. And I will tell you a little, some of them I felt a little bit shamed by, because they would have a drug list of this long. And so and what are you taking? Xanax and Ambien. That's it? Xanax and Ambien will kill you.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
And I just remember going, I was going to be there for 14 days, and by the 14th day when they really weaned me, and I knew I wasn't going to die of a heart attack. That was my fear, is can I manage this myself, and is it really going to kill me if my heart was in it, but I just didn't know what I didn't know, and I learned so much about all these things that you were just talking about, and these brand names that I honestly just wasn't aware of. I learned so much about how alcohol and Xanax and Ambien, your brain doesn't know exactly which one you're taking, but it has the same effect. And I know I'm saying it wrong, but I think you know it. I remember on the 21st day, I was supposed to come home, and believe me, I never thought I would be saying this, but I called them and said I'm going to stay another week.
Can you believe it? How many people stay in rehab
Nobody.
another week?
I think my son was getting worried, like, have you talked to Mom lately? I think she's staying, but but it was so informative to me. So much of the stuff that I guess I should have known, but I had no idea. And I was just, it's funny. There's a lot of people that were there that had to be there. I don't know if it was court ordered or, and I could have been right there with them too, but luckily I hadn't injured myself or injured anybody else during this. But we'd go classes all day long, and I'd be writing, and these people would be looking at me like, she's lost her mind. But I wanted so badly to come out of that and know what I didn't know. And that's exactly what I know I came back and there's so much that's just common sense about these things that they don't teach us. They don't tell us when they're writing these prescriptions. And many of these people many were young, but many were 50, 60, 70 years old, and they've been trying forever. And a lot of people were there because they had either, not cardiac arrest, what am I trying to say? But they had gone into, where they were close to dying. They've been
like AFib?
Yes. Because of the interaction of all these drugs. So, you just don't know what you don't know. And I came out of there shaky, wobbly, not knowing how to cope with life really without all of these things, but also so much more informed about the effect these things have on you and how hard it is to start something like that. And I know you say, hey, they've got their purpose, but man, just that first written out Xanax or that first Ambien, you need to take a breath and go, don't do as I did. Hey, the doctor prescribed it, must be okay. Because, most people that had addictions there did have 10 or 15 different drugs that they were on. I just kept to one or two because I really didn't know any of the others, but it definitely could have morphed into something much bigger. So I think my point was I really did reach out to medical professionals, but I felt a lot of shame. A lot of, instead of them really looking at me and saying, I think she's really serious about wanting to do this, let's work with this. They would basically say, I'm not writing you another prescription, but not really any guidance on what to do next. And I say Cumberland Heights, I know there's a bunch of places here, but
Cumberland Heights is a good place.
Yeah.
I have 2 family members who've been there, and it works.
You've got to go with the mindset of, I'm really here to get something out of it, because there are a lot of people there that are there because they're court ordered to be there.
Yeah.
And I think for Dani and I, we've kind of laughed about this. I think I don't even know that you knew I checked in, but she said I
No.
haven't seen you in a while. And I said,
No, she comes
I've
to
been
the-
to Cumberland.
She comes to the office. So this is what she does. She comes in, she's like MIA on me. And I'm like, I wonder where she went. And she goes, I went to rehab. And I said, what? And she goes, yeah, I stayed even longer than I was supposed to. And I was like, are you serious? Clean. So my question is, you did this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you struggle with it? I mean, because I know that's a big question people ask, you know, like alcoholics, you know, many times they say, you know, I want to drink every single day, but I don't. Smokers as
Yeah.
well. Do you struggle with it? Do you want it?
No,
No.
I will tell you this. I know I've been around a lot of people that, I mean, fingernails in the wall going, I feel like I have to have that. I feel like I'm kind of short. I mean, I'm so lucky, but once I got out and knew I wasn't going to die of a heart attack, there's been days that I thought, gosh, I sure wish I could have something just to calm me down. But I don't really.
Take your GABA when you feel like
Yeah.
that, or your CBD. Just keep these 2 in your
That's-
purse
that's
right
funny,
now,
because
and
I
whenever
thought
you.
that, and I thought,
Have
I'm
you
not
been
taking
using
that.
it?
No, I thought that was more like marijuana or something.
No!
like that.
Oh
I know,
my
I know.
Lord, girl,
You need to go to her other class.
you need to go to the CBD class. Let me. No, there's
I did
no
buy it.
THC. You're not gonna. No, you need this. Keep this. You should have maybe used some before you started this if you were nervous, but you can't tell you're nervous.
No,
But you don't struggle with wanting it, with wanting to go get a prescription or anything. I mean, that is so encouraging to me that you can. Did they, how do they wean you off? Because I don't know. I've never been to detox. So, I mean, how do they do that? Do they put in supplements as well, or do they, you tough it out?
I can't remember exactly what
Okay.
they gave me. I really can't.
Yeah.
But I just know that they gave me so much of it that they said it would knock out an elephant, and I was still pacing, pacing because you're kind of in this confined room, and I wanted to get out. I felt more claustrophobic, and I don't think I had as much of the withdrawals because my anxiety was so high being there. I thought, how do I get out of here? Where have they left me? Why did I do this? And that went on for about 3 days, and I wish I could remember what they gave me, but it's something that these, you know, Cumberland Heights will give you, because they can't just stop it all of
I
a
don't
sudden.
know. Do you have any idea? I don't know what they give because I don't know.
Not phenobarbital. No, I'm
Well,
sorry.
typically detox from other things. They'll give you Ativan.
Oh,
Yeah, so I guess they're probably not giving you
Just to
another
keep you from
benzo, right?
Yeah.
Seizing or something. Some
Yeah.
people do that.
So
It worked, whatever it is
Yeah.
they did.
And when I came out, I was weak, and but I have not struggled with. I know, you know, for my family, it was like for a while I felt like I was definitely the elephant in the room. What do we do around mom? That's not going to set her off. You know, should we drink her? And
What do we do around mom? What do we? Really, seriously, did you feel that way? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but was this a really? So her son's here tonight, sitting in here, and was this hard? I mean, did you all know? Even if she was weaning down and all this, was this hard on your family?
Yeah. The day we checked her into Cumberland Heights was the single hardest day of my life, for real. Very hard. Because I knew the next 4 or 5 days was so uncertain, because I knew you were so scared of having a heart attack. And that kept you from going in for a long time because you had heard the process of detoxing from this is so
Draws,
intense.
yeah.
So yeah, it was brutal, but having her out of Cumberland Heights for probably the first 90 days, we were so different coming out of there, which was such a blessing, but we're all like, we gotta be cognizant that she's
Protect
gone
her.
through this, right? And we wanna,
Don't put more
respect
on
that.
her than she can
Yeah.
handle. I think they were, you know, it was fragile.
yeah,
Or
and we were just trying to respect that we can play a role in how she can succeed.
Right, right.
And it's a matter of leaning on others outside of our family if we're having something to give her the space to heal.
You bet.
So-
But you are so blessed you had a family that
Absolutely.
was aware of this, because many families are not aware of it. Well, you're out, you're back home, boom, back to where.
Well, she's, magically cured. And I do remember him saying to family, don't expect that she's going to come out and be all joyful and all this and that, because it's just a process of all of this and all of that she's learning. So that helped so much. But the shame and the fear that you feel going through something like this, and when you said something about community, you said community. I couldn't lean on my kids anymore about this. I had burdened them, and I mean it. So many times they watch their mom going up and down. Is she gonna, is she really gonna be able to? Is she really off this issue? Has she really stopped? It was tremendous, and I put a load on them they never should have had to carry, but they were willing. And when I came out of it, I will just tell you, I thought I was so blessed by the things I didn't know, and all this behind me, all the supplements, all the things that I'm thinking, that's not prescription. It's really not going to. How's that going to help me? And I'm very blessed that I don't struggle with that. I've got to have this next drink, or I can't say there's never been a time that I didn't want a glass of wine, but it's not something that's consuming me. And yet there's so many people that we know that hey, they're really, really grunting this out. Now, while I was in it, you better believe I was right there. And I do say, I'm so thankful that people are now looking at and going, all of these things that we've written, all these money makers for, these prescription drugs, they're killing people. And I never hurt anyone. I hurt myself. I hurt my family emotionally, but I could have easily done it.
Mm-hmm.
Easily done
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
And so that's been almost 4 years, and
Yeah.
May it'll be 4 years. And I'm so thankful to learn what I didn't know, and I still am learning.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah, she's a constant learner.
And I will say that, you kind of have to question the doctors. Just because they're doctors doesn't mean they have the
They're human
answers.
beings.
Amen.
Yes.
And there's a lot of reasons that these things are abused, and there's 49 million written. There's not a lot of time. There's not a lot of providers who practice functional medicine like we do. We have a long time with our patients. We don't have 7 minutes
exactly right.
or 4 minutes
Yeah.
with a patient, so, and it is way easier to write a prescription for, here's your Ambien, here's
And
your
we
Xanax, here's your,
expect it too.
that's right,
We
here's
want
your
a quick
Prozac.
fix.
Mm-hmm.
And so
That's
we
right.
put the pressure on them to fix this. I'm here.
It's a broken system on all levels, but we're also not taught in school at all, because there's another nurse practitioner who owns a clinic here tonight too, and we are not taught. We went to the same school, didn't we? No.
UT.
Oh, you were at UT, okay. We were not taught that there's a root cause for your anxiety. It's not a Xanax deficiency, right? Now, there's a root cause for it. There's a root cause for your migraines and for your headaches and for anxiety and your depression and all those things. And so we don't know. So we don't know what we don't know, right?
Right.
And then there's a handful of providers who step out of the box and learn that there is a better way. And I'm not responsible for myself doing that, because I took a job at Cool Springs Family Medicine who pushed me into that. I had no idea. That's exactly right. So I took a job as a functional medicine nurse practitioner because I got fired from the ER because I wasn't smart enough. That was exactly what he told me. You weren't learning quick enough. And so I got fired and then got a job over there. Well, let me tell you, this is way harder. And when I write my first book, you can bet that doctor's going to get that book in the mail with a sweet little letter that says, thank you so much, for firing me that day, because I would have never, ever, ever been able to do what I do and learn this. But Donna, I am so, thank you. I can't, and there are people on here, and we will answer these questions, who are saying, there's a lady who just said, thank you so much for your courage, for sharing this, for you for being here, because this is a big, big deal. This is a family problem. This is just not your problem.
It affected
Well, it affects your work, your family, your spouse, your kids, your
But
friends.
Danny, I will say this, you've got to be careful because I was taking these things, but I was still functioning at work.
Yeah.
So don't let that illusion, draw you in that I'm okay. You're not. It still needs to be dealt with. And, definitely I didn't take to the magnitude, but I was functioning okay as in this little box until I got home, and they would see well, Mom, do you want to go do this? No, I just want to go to sleep. And that, it's way too easy to do that, but it's not an answer.
No, it's not. And I know you say that we're more aware of it now, but I can't tell you how many patients come in this office on benzodiazepines and Ambien and Xanax and all of this, and that I don't even mention. I mention it the first visit, but I don't dare say we're coming off of this. We've got to get all this other stuff in order first. And I actually wean very few people off. I let their doctors do. I just do the backup here, trying to get everything in order. But I mean, it's still written heavily.
Oh yeah,
Very heavily out there, but
that's kind of my mission at this point.
okay, so I was going to say, you have to share your story. When you've been given much, you have to give much and all these things. And
I would have loved for somebody to tell me that you're going to be okay, because I didn't feel like it. I felt like I was going to have a heart attack, or I just didn't know. Your body gets so out of kilter. If I had had this community of people and just been able to hear any of this, but I was turned away at so many, different avenues. And I even asked, is there somebody that, because how do these drugs all interact, or how do I, but nobody really sent you to another person. And it's not, in many ways, it's not their fault, because you're right. I sat there and I want them to understand my whole life history in 10 minutes. And what I'm really expecting, even though I want to get off of it, I'm expecting them to write these prescriptions, because otherwise my heart is just beating out of my chest.
so unfortunately, here's the rub on this. It takes going to somebody, most like either checking yourself into rehab or finding a functional medicine provider and paying out of pocket. I mean, so it's a double-edged sword, because many people can't afford to come here.
Right.
And I totally know that. I mean, I completely am aware of that. And if you don't have somebody who can sit down with you for an hour and a half,
Right.
you can't figure this stuff out in 10 minutes. I mean, you can't. There's no way. And so, well, Donna, I am so grateful for you. I have no idea. I am so proud of you for being here. You have no idea how many people are watching there and sharing this. There were people sharing it, I could see. But if you have questions for Donna or myself, please post them up there and we will answer them, because you know how to get on the Dani Williamson page,
Yes.
right? And you can see the video and
Yeah.
you can answer questions. And
people
this
can
takes
call me
courage.
directly, because I know if I had had someone to talk to.
And
about
Donna means this. I have sent patients to her. I have had patients call her and say, talk to this woman about your journey. And so we will, you can message her. You probably don't want to put your phone number up on Facebook. Okay, thank you. Okay.
But Dani has it.
I
You
have
my
your
contact
phone number, but
information.
when you call, when you post up there, I will tag you. You can private message her. And that's the way I would do it. Don't put your phone number up there, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And we're going to have a question and answer session in here, and we're going to talk. But we appreciate you guys. Have a good Friday night. And, what does this say about us that we're sitting at a provider's office on Friday night talking about Xanax and people are watching? We're not very exciting people, are we? We're over here.
Well, you
but I'm
are.
telling you, people heal when they have community.
Yeah, right.
And if you don't have community, then you need to make a community. Make your own community. Figure it out. That's what I had to do. And so create your own community. Start cultivating it. If you have a problem, then and you can't find an answer, then reach out. And there's people out there willing to help, like Donna, like myself.
Absolutely. A bunch of people in this room.
That's
I know
exactly
everybody
right.
would love to talk about it and help each other, because I wouldn't have made it without everybody else, my family.
All right, guys, we love you. Sunday night, I'm talking about adrenal fatigue on Sunday night service. So we're going to be talking about adrenals and how all the problems that happen at the holidays with adrenal fatigue. So tune in, 7 o'clock Central Time.